In Italy, I have discovered a beauty that has set a new standard in my life, redefining the very essence of the term. For in Italy, one discovers incredible flavors, history, art, people, and landscapes that blend together to form one of life's greatest tapestries. It's not a fleeting experience, but a standard I now carry with me. In a sense, I'm cursed, for how can anywhere else compare to the beauty I have experienced here in Italy? If you're new to the channel, welcome. We create videos of our world travels hoping to inspire others to dream up a journey of their own. This is the Dream to Journey family, spending 12 days in Bella Italia. We begin our journey in Venice, then travel to Florence, where we will be day tripping to Pisa and Lucca. We then travel to the Cinque Terre before finishing in Rome. And here we begin in Venice. Arriving in Venice, we immediately set out on a Vaporetto tour of Venice's Grand Canal. Beginning near the Santa Lucia train station, we mingle with the local boat traffic and can't help but admire the medieval waterfront palaces, a reminder of the city's opulent past. The iconic Rialto Bridge, built in 1591, comes into view. 20 minutes later, and having gotten our bearings of the city, we disembarked near St. Mark's Square, anxious to continue exploring. Venice was a major hub for trade and cultural exchange between East and West during the medieval period, and St. Mark's Basilica is a fusion of these influences. The relics of St. Mark, which are housed in the basilica, were brought to Venice from Alexandria. The interior boasts an incredible display of gold mosaics depicting religious scenes and biblical stories. The cathedral's design draws heavily from Byzantine architecture, particularly evident in its domes, arches, and intricate mosaics. We then head out for a quick bite at the delicious and recommended baci and pasta. Then it's back to our AirBNB to get settled in. Our AirBNB host has lived in Venice for more than 30 years, where she was lucky enough to raise her 2 daughters. She told us that sadly her daughter's old elementary school was closing down, a reminder that Venetians, whose numbers once reached over 150,000, have long been on the decline and now number around 50,000. The following morning we explored the Doge's palace. The Doges served as the elected head of state for the Venetian Republic, and the Doge's palace showcases the city's wealth and artistic heritage. The Venetian government operated as a unique blend of oligarchy and republicanism, which prevented the consolidation of authority in any single individual or faction. Criminals were tried here in the courts, and if sentenced to imprisonment, walked across the canal via the famous Bridge of Sighs. Legend has it that prisoners, taking their last glimpse of beautiful Venice, would sigh as they headed to their prison cells, hence the name. You won't hear any sighs from us today, however, only smiles, because we're headed out to explore more of Venice as the Venetians do, by gondola. Few experiences are as romantic and beautiful as cruising the canals of Venice on a gondola, and is definitely something that must be experienced. Gondoliers are posted throughout the city, so finding one really isn't too much of a challenge. One can expect to pay between $80 to $100 for a ride. Just don't make our mistake of booking a shared gondola ride to save a few bucks. It's not worth it, especially when you get pushed around the boat so they can get the perfect Instagram shot. We finished off our romantic evening at Algobo del Rialto for dinner. It's spaghetti al frutti di mare for Bailey, and traditional spaghetti al nero di seppia, squid ink spaghetti, for me. It's a delicious traditional dish and makes for a great photo op. It can be tough to escape the crowds in Venice, so make sure to give yourself time to wander away from the tour groups and get lost. Put your phone down, you don't need a map. You're on an island, so you can't get too lost. If you come to an intersection, choose the quietest street and just keep walking. You will soon find that it's in the quiet lanes and glassed over canals that the city truly reveals itself. This is where that magic Venetian moment happens.
Getting one last glimpse of Venice, we made our way through Italian countryside to the beautiful city of Florence. We stayed in a charming city-centered AirBNB that was a great home base. It was right across the street from the central market and within view of the stunning and iconic Duomo. Florence played a pivotal role in the Renaissance, serving as the vibrant epicenter for cultural, artistic, and intellectual innovation from the 14th to the 17th century. The prosperity of Florence was fueled by influential families such as the Medici, who were patrons of the arts and supported renowned figures such as Leonardo da Vinci, Botticelli, and Michelangelo. Michelangelo's most famous work is on display at the Accademia. With partially finished works of art showing the process behind his masterpieces, Michelangelo's completed David truly takes your breath away. The 17-foot-tall marble giant posed for his epic battle against Goliath. The David is the most incredible piece of art I have ever witnessed. The only way I can think to describe him is this: alive. The way Michelangelo captured every sinew and muscle to make David appear living is incredible and made me feel something I can only compare to being alive. The next work of art, Italian gelato. Rivarino, a family-owned operation, makes their gelato fresh every day and stores smaller amounts in closed metal containers to keep the gelato fresh. Each bite is delicious and sadly gone before you know it. After ice cream, our local guide continued on with our lessons in delicious Florentine food. We spent the afternoon sampling coccoli, cantuccio, sweet wines, and olive oil. Just throw in a few plates of fresh Florentine pastas to pass around with strangers, and well, that's the kind of travel experience that stays with you long after the meal is over. It's impossible to travel Florence and not stand in awe of the city's crown jewel, the magnificent Duomo. Brunelleschi's dome is a genius work of Renaissance engineering. To avoid the crowds, check out the Duomo Museum. Life-sized replicas and even many originals help bring the Duomo's importance to light as more than just an easy tourist attraction, but as a reminder of Renaissance brilliance. For an amazing view, try Giotto's Campanile, towering just meters away. This 14th century tower stands at 276 feet in the air. After a little over 300 steps later, we felt like we were seeing the beauty of the Duomo for the first time all over again from the view of this bell tower. Absolutely incredible. Ready for a bite unlike anything else? Just past the Piazza della Signoria is a world-renowned sandwich shop that your taste buds and wallet will love. We booked a bike tour with AirBNB that surpassed our expectations and quickly became a highlight of our time in Florence. We saw the open window where Da Vinci painted the Mona Lisa and got views from the Ponte Vecchio. Pausing to admire the medieval butcher shops turned high-end jewelry stores. We appreciated that this bridge was spared during the World Wars, unlike many others that were destroyed on the same river. That was it. Florence had taken us wholeheartedly and showed us to the world of Renaissance elegance, and we were loving it. The food, the people, the architecture, the art. Soaking in the view from the Piazzale Michelangelo, we held each other close and took in our last views of the iconic Florentine cityscape.
The town of Pisa is between 1 and 1.5 hour train ride from Florence, making it an easy day trip. Construction of the bell tower began in 1173 and took 200 years to complete. Upon entering the tower, we set up a little experiment to find just how much the tower leans. Turns out, it's quite a bit. Ascending the tower, one notices that grooves in the outside of the stairs have formed over time due to the disorienting lean one has to do when ascending to stay upright. And the view at the top is definitely worth it. And if I thought that overcoming my fear of heights was enough, if only I knew just how hard it was to strike that perfect leaning tower pose. The adjacent Duomo di Pisa, well worth a visit, is a magnificent medieval cathedral with impressive architecture and art. Fun fact, Galileo grew up in Pisa and attended this very cathedral. Directly in front of the cathedral and leaning tower is the circular baptistry, known for its acoustics, having been designed in a way that allows one to harmonize with oneself. And that brings an end to our short time in Pisa. Traveling via train in Italy may require an extra dose of patience, as delays are common and navigating the rail network can be confusing. Give yourself plenty of time to get around. Make sure to purchase tickets before boarding, and once on board, sit back and enjoy Bella Italia. Lucca is, in my opinion, an off-the-beaten-path traveler's paradise. Just far enough away from any major sites, keeps this gem off of most visitors' agendas, and what a mistake that is. Lucca is surrounded by a well-preserved wall from the Renaissance. While originally built for protection from enemies, it has since been converted to a tree-lined walking and cycling path. There are many charming restaurants to choose from in Lucca. It was beef tartare for me and a carbonara for Bailey. Hoping to get a better view of the city, we scaled the Guinigi Tower. These medieval skyscrapers typically housed affluent families and were used as family residences, with one room stacked on another. Guinigi Tower is particularly notable for its rooftop garden, where visitors can soak in the panoramic views of Lucca. It's a quick game of hide and seek for us before heading down to explore more of this charming city. The historic center of Lucca is completely car-free, which makes it extremely enjoyable to stroll on foot. To top off our day, we stop into the recommended Pinelli for a bite of whatever pastries looked the best on display. Lucca, you have our hearts.
Up next, the Cinque Terre. The Cinque Terre consists of 5 colorful fishing villages, all perched on steep cliffs and connected by a tunneled train. We are staying in Vernazza, in my opinion the most stunning of the 5 villages. After arriving by train, it's up many stairs to the apartment to drop off our things. Our AirBNB was perfect for the few nights we would need a place to rest. The town of Vernazza has been on the map since 1080 and even today carries on that small town feel. After a quick bite, we soaked in the city and sea as we watched the sun go down. Leaving our little one with family, we're off the next morning to hike the Sentiero Azzurro Trail, or Blue Trail. This section is approximately 2 miles or 3.5 kilometers and takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours to complete. As the trail can be crowded near midday, it's best experienced in the early hours of the day or later in the evening. With each turn, the panoramic views of the Italian Riviera unfold, unveiling the enchanting terraced villages and fields of poppies that is the Cinque Terre. And don't forget about your doctor-recommended twice daily scoop of gelato. Man, I love Italy. It's off to Monterosso al Mare for us, as today is their annual Lemon Festival celebration. The Cinque Terre is renowned for its flavorful and vibrant lemons, grown in terraced lemon orchards that flourish in the region's coastal Mediterranean climate. Browsing many local vendors' booths, we picked some delicious lemony treats and we dug right in. With our hearts and bellies happy, we said goodbye to the Cinque Terre, and we know someday we'll be back for more.
And just like that, we're off to our final destination, Rome. We began our time in Rome with a visit to the Colosseum. To make the most of your experience, consider it essential to purchase tickets well in advance to avoid the long queues. Also, consider exploring the Colosseum as soon as it opens or late in the afternoon to avoid joining the shuffling herds of tourists. Taking a guided tour allows one to gain insights into the arena's history, but tour guides can be understandably jaded. Choose a well-reviewed guide if this is your style. As you enter the iconic amphitheater, imagine the roar of the crowds of the gladiatorial contests that unfolded here over 2,000 years ago. Gladiators, often slaves or prisoners of war, entered combats that were a form of entertainment but also served political and social purposes, reinforcing the power and authority of the ruling elite. We then walk along the Via Sacra to the Arch of Titus on our way over to the Roman Forum. This arch commemorates Titus's victories, including the siege of Jerusalem in AD 70, where the Romans captured the city and looted the Jewish temple. A visit to the Roman Forum is like stepping back in time to the heart of ancient Rome. We loved the time we had strolling through the ruins, imagining the political, religious, and social activities that unfolded here. A good guide can bring this history to life. We relied on the recommended free Rick Steves Audioguide app for our tour here and at other historical sites in Rome. Adjacent to the Roman Forum is the Capitoline Museum, which houses a collection of classical art and artifacts, such as the Capitoline wolf and the statue of Marcus Aurelius. A special favorite is the Capitoline Venus. And again, don't forget the view of the Roman Forum from the museum balcony, arguably its best vantage point. With the evening approaching and family in town to watch the little one, Bailey and I headed out for an evening in the Eternal City. I will never forget zooming around on the bumpy cobblestone, and while I'm pretty sure I lost a filling or two in my teeth, I haven't laughed like that in quite some time.
As most days start out, a ride on public transit and a walk through quiet shop roads gets us to where we're heading. Today, it's a walk through Rome's historic core. We start at Piazza Navona, a former Roman chariot stadium. The obelisk erected in the middle of the square has Egyptian origins. Water fountains flow freely throughout the city, offering both locals and visitors a refreshing drink amid the oftentimes overwhelming heat. And just around the corner is the Pantheon, an architectural masterpiece. It was built by Roman Emperor Hadrian nearly 2,000 years ago. Crossing the threshold, you're greeted by the Grand Rotunda, and your eyes are instinctively drawn upwards toward the iconic oculus, a celestial window filling the space with light just as it did when Romans worshipped their deities here. But the desire to worship continues on today as Catholic services and prayers are continually offered here in the Pantheon. I will acknowledge that we have so far done a rather poor job at showing off the incredible food in Italy. In general, we found that sticking to restaurants as far from tourist centers as possible that had a chalkboard menu and good Google reviews rarely left us disappointed. The best way to cap off a day of sightseeing in the historic core of Rome is at the Spanish Steps, where seemingly every tourist congregates to enjoy whatever performance is on. On our way home, we stumbled upon a Catholic procession that was displaying a relic, removed once a year for the followers to display their devotion. More on Roman Catholic culture and the Vatican tomorrow. On our final day in Rome, we are visiting the Vatican Museum, a treasure trove of art and history. This museum is overwhelmingly gorgeous, but we still recommend going at your own pace, so try not to get swept up in the many tour groups around you. Housing Roman sculptures and Renaissance masterpieces such as Raphael's The School of Athens. Plato and Aristotle engage in dialogue, Euclid studies geometric shapes, and Ptolemy holds the world. And of course, the Sistine Chapel, sadly where photography is strictly prohibited. Adjacent to the Vatican Museum is St. Peter's Basilica, the largest basilica in the world. From floor to ceiling, St. Peter's Basilica is a testament to the wealth, power, and spiritual significance of the Catholic Church, showing some of the best examples of Renaissance and Baroque art and architecture. Michelangelo designed the dome, a masterpiece in engineering, standing 450 feet off the ground. And his famous Pieta statue of Mary cradling Jesus' lifeless body is sure to show the sacredness of this building. Vatican City is the smallest country in the world, yet has its own post office complete with official Pope stamps, making it a great time to send that long overdue postcard to your grandmother. A visit to Rome is not complete without seeing the iconic Trevi Fountains. with a toss of a coin, we ensure a return to the city. For how could one not fall in love with Bella Italia? We give our all to create quality travel content, so please consider journeying along with us by subscribing. Next month, we find ourselves exploring Northern Ireland. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, dream big and enjoy the journey.